What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. You can never force nobody else to wear them.
I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubt that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubt. And I have my doubt that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. That we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back up. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out.
Good evening. Hope everybody's doing well. Before we get started with anything remotely connected to my nonsense this evening, I want to put a little word out there, and I mean, I know I've got a small audience, but it is what it is. I'll still put the word out. There is one of the prepper community that could use a hand, and you all should know by now there's not too many people in the prepping community that I'm fans of, right? However, there are some, those that don't build their entire persona on ego, and those that don't want to sell you all the solutions to your problems. People that actually, their actions meet their words, and, Real World Prepper had an ordeal here recently where he had a tornado hit, I believe he calls it Area 53, where he lives. Again, the channel is Real World Prepper. It's hard to imagine that folks would know of this channel and not his, but he could use some help. And plain and simple, if anybody can help, I'm sure he would very, very much appreciate it. I would appreciate it. That's for sure. He's got one heck of a mess dumped in his lap. And unfortunately, that's just the way life is sometimes. So I know if I had something to give him, I damn straight would. If I could give him my time, my labor, anything, I damn straight would. But I can't. He's one of the good ones. He's one of the guys out there that just, he wanted to try to help where he could, He wasn't somebody that was, I don't know. And he's just the real deal. Just the real deal. That's all there is to say. So Real World Prepper, if you can help him by chance, please do so. And if you can't even help him financially, go over there and help him with another subscription, let him know that you're thinking of him, you're praying for him, because, again, he's a good guy. Good guy. Anyway, continuing on from there, I had another victory. The Boulder Pod. I actually I rebuilt a Boulder Pod, and it's working correctly. It's not leaking, it's not flooding, it's working like it's supposed to. So I'm really excited about that. I got the stuff to rebuild them, and then I wound up buying this godforsaken thing for $70 frickin' and a ton of coils for it, and this thing has just been a piece of crap. This cheap-ass little pod battery BS system here works 110 times better than that thing, and if I'd have known that, I would have invested in a ton of pods. But anyway, what I was saying is I got the wick and already had the wire to rebuild these. I bought the wick specifically to rebuild these, and because you want to use like a silica wick with these. And so anyway, I bought the wick and had it, and so I sat there, was it yesterday or today? I can't remember. Today. I haven't used it yet overnight. But anyway, so I sat there and made the coil the right size, got it all hooked up. Perfect. So that is awesome. When I can, I don't know when the hell that'll be, but whenever I can, I need to order some more pods, because that is literally my only pod, because my dumb ass threw the rest of them away. Why? Well, because I had this really sweet $70, Lost Vape Orion Plus mod that was going to, make my breakfast and brew my coffee, and, well, none of that stuff kind of happened, but, piece of crap. Don't buy a Lost Vape Orion Plus. Junk. Anyway, I successfully rebuilt that sucker. I got to give me some more pods, so I got more bodies to rebuild after they, go the first time. But that's what I'm about. I'm about trying to be as sustainable for myself as possible. And I do use this for nighttime. That's what I use this for when I go to bed, because I hang on to my e-cig like a pacifier when I go to sleep. And if I hang on to this like a pacifier when I go to sleep, I'm going to wake up with a nice big e-juice spill on the bed. So try not to vape with that. Try to vape with, well, I was using the pod, but I am out of coils for that. Finally ran out of coils. And I can't successfully rebuild those damn things. I have tried and tried and tried. Anyway, aside from that, I'll address a little bit more on that video that I put out earlier. You know, I really don't know what people expect in this nation. But anytime, and we even had one of the founding fathers of this nation say that, you know, those that would forsake liberty for security deserve neither, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm sure I've got that a little bit off. It's the same thing here. Because what happens if you're relying on your neighbors not to light off fireworks so your dogs don't run off, and your neighbors do what they're going to do anyway, which is what's going to happen in many cases, and your dog runs off? Well, all you did was create your own victimhood there. Because it's your responsibility as the pet owner to make sure that the dog stays taken care of. Because, look, I understand that there are some Houdini dogs. I've had Houdini dogs. I had a dog that was huge. Well, he was half Alaskan Malamute, half wolf. Big-ass dog. Big-ass dog. That thing somehow could get, like, under fences and stuff. It's the most, I never could really figure it out. But you know what? That was my responsibility, not anybody else's. Mine. Right? It was mine. My responsibility. I don't know what to tell people, but if you go and put that reliance on others, you can't complain when they fail you. It's that simple. And I think that having that attitude that, oh, everybody else should have to bend to my will, folks need to understand that that's just not going to happen. And when it doesn't happen, and you lose because you didn't take the responsibility doing whatever you had to do to rectify the situation beforehand. We're talking about one day or one night. One night. Put the dog in the garage, something. One night. And I am not a supporter of celebrating the 4th of July. That's the irony of all of it. I won't be celebrating. Damn straight won't be celebrating. I won't celebrate the 4th of July until this nation is independent. So I'm not really expecting to. So it is what it is. I'm not going to take point in symbolism because it's all it is. I'm not going to be a party of it. You know, I don't believe in appearances. I made that video the other day. You know, I don't believe in appearances at all. I believe in reality. And if it's a dark reality, then, well, we need to damn well look at it. We need to stare at it in the face till we're so damn tired of staring at it, we do something about it. But so many in our society put some flowers around it and some sprinkles, a little bit of glitter, and, well, no harm, no foul, I guess. But that's not reality. Mentioned in that video about not having a solid foundation. That's what I'm talking about. At the end of the day, if it's my pet, it's my responsibility. Blue has gotten loose 3 or 4 times since we've had her. Now, she's spoiled to death and won't go anywhere. Every time she's been right there. I mean, now, here, twice she's gotten away here, and because her cable broke. But she goes next door. And I don't know why, but she goes to the front door next door, which is on the other side. But both times I call her and she comes running. So that's my responsibility. If she would have ran off and gotten hit by, that's on me. Nobody else. It was my responsibility to go out there and replace that equipment before it failed. Nobody else's. I don't get it. And I can't go along with it. And that's one thing that really gets me to no end is every 4th of July when I see all the damn list of rules that the campgrounds have and that the towns have, and then everybody's got their rules listed for the 4th of July, and it's like, I get it. I get it. You can't just, 4th of July can't be the purge, right? I get it. But at the same time, and I have to say, around here, well, I mean, part of it, of course, is who you are. If you're not one of their pets, it doesn't matter what you do. But for the most part, most people around here, as long as they keep it within reason, cops ain't going to bother them. The only way the cops are going to bother them is if a neighbor calls it in. But there are people around us that light off fireworks right here in town. No big deal. I could care less. It is what it is. Well, what about the people with PTSD? Oh, you mean like me? Okay. Well, you know what? I know it's 4th of July. I know it's 4th of July. In life, we can choose to be a victim, or we can be a survivor. The victim wants everybody else to bend their will, bend their way, to appease them. A survivor goes out amongst those things and overcomes them. It's not a good idea to enable the victims. Plain and simple. There's a whole hell of a lot of things that I've had to overcome that I never thought I would. It is what it is. But you know what? All of that is my responsibility and nobody else's. All of it. It is what it is. Anywho, other than that, wow, France is lit. It is crazy what's going on in France, and it's actually spreading. I know it's happening in Switzerland, and it's wow. I've got a little bit about that tonight, and then I've got a lot about economy around the world, because that's just what was in the news today. When I come back on Sundays, the news that I pick out to talk about before I do the headlines is all from that Sunday, from, like, in this case, today. So I pick whatever I have to work with, and I don't know why I do that. I think I do that namely because it's the freshest news, it's the freshest data. So Today I actually have a lot of Sundays. I don't have a lot to cover. I've actually got 7 tabs open, but they're not all stuff that we really need to go into detail about. Let me think if there's anything else. I got the drones out. Oh, I took some drone pictures today. Hang on. I did do that. Let's see. Is that the regular one? No. There's only one that's really good for showing you guys. One of them's like super, super wide. So there was a storm that went just north of us today. Oops. That would have been the wrong browser. Come over here. You come over here. There you go. Oh, you still can't see it. Well, here. How's that? Push button. There you go. That was just storm clouds that I decided to get a picture of. So I did that today, but initially, I've got that Potensic D58, that little cheaper drone, and that thing hasn't been gone through as far as, had the batteries charged up and ran back down to 50-60%. So I spent some time today doing that. I've got 2 batteries done. I still got one more I gotta run down. That thing actually has a fairly decent flight time on its batteries. It really does. So I gotta do that. One more battery, and then I'll put it back up and put it away. And the Mavic Air 2, I've been flying it here and there. I've been this year, I should say, this summer is probably the most I've ever flown that thing. And I really haven't flown it that much, just like sunset pictures and stuff. But I've actually been putting it up. So, is that a prison on the right side? No, you're. You should know what that is, homie. That's the old junior high there. I knew you knew, man. For those that don't know, Buck U2 Fitch used to live here, so. Oh, man. Yeah, I'll tell you what, though, that one doesn't look as much, the old junior high doesn't look as much like a prison as the high school. The high school looks most like a prison out of all of them. Anywho. I took a super wide one, too, which, like, oh, not that one. That one. If I can ever drag and drop correctly. This is for those people with the 9-foot wide, 1-foot tall monitors. I think that was actually 6 shots wide. So, I'm pretty sure there were 6. Yeah, there was 6 shots. 6 different shots. Well, I say that. I took 6 pictures, and each picture I took, it actually took 3 pictures. It was an AEB burst shot. So, few pictures. So, 18 pictures went in the making of that one. Let's see. Fun times. I reckon I can get started in what's going on in the world. Let me get my windows closed. I don't need open. And Germany reports unexpected jump in employment. Let's see. What's that? What doesn't your TV do? Like the 9 foot wide, 1 foot tall. I know, right? Mine don't either. I haven't tried that on VR. It would just still be a 2D image. However, those 360 images, you can actually see. Hang on here. Those 360 images. Oh, it won't let me do it that way. Hang on. You can open them up in VR, these things here. You can open these things up in VR, and it's like you're sitting in the sky where the drone is. It's really badass. So, yeah, I put my VR headset on and checked these out. They're awesome. Let's see. No, I do have a 360 though of it. Yep. I want to learn to do more stuff with that because that is so badass. Let's see. Germany reports unexpected jump in unemployment. I've been watching pretty closely the economic situation around the world, and everybody is really having a hard time of it. I think even China is kind of having a bit of a rough time dealing with the slowdown because there are so many less things that Americans and other people around the world are buying right now. So that undoubtedly is going to affect China as well. It's kind of freaky watching what's happening, and that's why I kind of, even if it's a business I don't like, as long as it's a needed business, because there's a lot of businesses I don't like. But we've got one like here locally that posts in our local Facebook group, and it's for a rent-to-own place. And I can't stand those businesses. I think they should be outlawed. However, my feelings don't matter, and the truth of the matter is that there are families that rely on those incomes from those jobs. Well, our local store apparently closed, the rental store, but there are people that still, of course, use the company. And so this is more or less another store from another town that's filling in the blank for the store that was here. And I am not going to step in the middle of his communication and relationship with his customers because I don't like the business. That's not my place, People talk about being fair. People talk about leadership. That's what being fair in leadership is. It's doing everything you can, in a sense, to stay out of it, unless it's directly causing harm. And yeah, I can make the case that how rent-to-own companies are absolutely directly causing harm. But at the same time, those companies are saving grace for some people. I'm not good at saving money. I'm not. Now, that's why I take a different approach. That's why I have taken the initiative to learn how to repair things and stuff like that, because that way maybe I can take care of it myself for much cheaper, repair what I already have. Or, I don't have to go out and buy the brand new fridge because I'm perfectly fine with the $50 or $100 garage fridge that'll get me by. But that's me. Some people wouldn't have that. I don't give a damn. Does it keep the food cool? Good deal. That's just kind of how I am. Now, I definitely don't want one to remind me of my diet. And, I wouldn't mind one that had a little ice, dispenser, water dispenser. That'd be nice. But that would be the extent. Oh, ice maker. Yeah, that would be the extent, though. I don't want it telling me when I need to go to the restroom. Or that I've had too much tea already today. But back to the point. I'm not going to step in the way of that business at all. Because people are relying on that income. It's not about me. That's the problem with this world. Everybody wants to try to make the world around them. And why? That's the craziest nonsense I've ever seen. This is why I removed myself from society. I didn't want to be like that. Let's see. Anyway, as I was saying before all of that, I've been watching the economy of the world just tumbling in a free fall. And really, honestly, the one that's in the best shape about now is Russia, as far as the big countries are concerned. There are other countries that aren't hit quite as bad. I don't think that the Middle Eastern countries are quite hit as bad from all this. But boy, the U.S., China, and then of course UK, EU, all of that. Everybody's hurting. I think Russia has taken some hits because of not only the sanctions, but also the companies pulling out and stuff like that. But I think they're having the easiest recovery so far, from what I can see. In spite of the sanctions and all the other stuff. This here says, and this is crazy because we're going to talk about unemployment, we're going to talk about people just not having the money, and then at the same time we're going to be talking about people that are quitting their jobs. So, a lot of craziness going on. Unemployment in Germany rose more than unexpected in June due to a difficult economic conditions, an official report revealed this week. The Federal Employment Agency said the number of people out of work jumped by 28,000 from the previous month in seasonally adjusted terms. May saw a May saw a 13,000 increase from the previous month, the report noted. Analysts polled that Reuters had expected the figure for June to rise by 13,000 as well. According to the BA, not badass, unemployment in the country usually declines in early summer. On average, over the 3 years before the coronavirus pandemic, it fell by 28,000 or 1% in June. This year, however, all 16 federal states in Germany had seen a rise in unemployment rates compared to the same month in 2022. The more difficult economic conditions are now also being felt in the labor market. Reuters quoted Labor Office head Andrea Knowles, "Unemployment is rising and employment growth is losing momentum," she added. Germany is the EU's biggest economy and one has the lowest unemployment rates on the continent. The number of people out of work in the country increased by 8% year-on-year in June, the Labor Office said. The total number of unemployed, not seasonally adjusted, stands at 2,555,000. The steep rise in unemployment rates can be partly attributed to the influx of refugees from Ukraine. More than 1 million people have arrived in Germany from Ukraine since February 2022. At this time last year, the German government began a program of job assistance for Ukrainian refugees, and unemployment jumped by 103,000 month-on-month, or 5% compared to June of 2021. So obviously things are not looking so hot as far as that's concerned. Part of it, and it's not, I don't think it's a big part of it, but definitely a part of it. It's just the winding down of us as individuals. I think there's a whole lot of people now that even the money even not so much makes the difference, but a lot of people have just kind of pulled back on their spending. Even the people that could afford stuff have kind of pulled back a little bit. I think a lot of people are just keeping a watchful eye on what happens, and people are kind of trying to sure up their bets a little bit, just in case it gets worse. So that just compounds the problem, because those products that people buy are sold by companies that we go to buy stuff, that are supplied by distributors that are supplied by manufacturers, and well, you know the drill. It's a long chain reaction when those sales slow down so dramatically, and they slowed down dramatically from the whole COVID thing. Some of it by being shortages, other, just whatever, but things really slowed down, and so did people. I really think a lot of people stopped quite spending so much. And then now with the extra concern of watching the world's economy spiral down, people are holding on to what they have a little bit more. Many others, maybe even most others, just simply can't afford the extra stuff anymore. Even grocery shopping. I did grocery shopping today, and that's almost a tense thing anymore. And I'm not one that lets shopping bother me. It's a thing. You get it done, boom, done. But now it's a matter of, okay, and there are no such thing as extras. We always get a little extra to put back for prepping and stuff. No, we're actually losing ground. Yes. There is one prep that I haven't been able to replace, and I've just been taking and taking and taking, and that's coffee. That's coffee. We can't afford to replace it at this point. There's still a little bit of a stockpile in there, but not a ton. It is what it is. It is what it is. This food inflation thing is very real, and it doesn't take much. When it's on the majority of products, it doesn't take much. 20 cents, 30 cents, on a majority of the things that you buy, doesn't take long. But you all know that. I'm speaking to the choir on that. I hear you there on the ammo. Yeah, I mean, it's insane. And there are starting to be more revelations that how many of these companies are basically, they're doing it just to fleece us. That a lot of these increases aren't necessary. At this point, it's just being done because they're getting away with it. So I don't know how true that is, but I don't doubt it either. I really don't doubt that. Anyway, moving on and forward, let's sip a coffee. Now, if I run out of coffee, that will damn well be the apocalypse. Let's see. Struggling British households tap into rainy day funds. And I was actually, in a sense, kind of touching on that a moment ago. About how we're actually dipping into preps because, I make damn sure we've got enough to eat. So, I try to always be a little ahead, even just in our regular groceries, I try to be a little bit ahead just in case. Because there are sometimes we don't go shopping until the first, sometimes even the second week, in a month. We only do our main shopping once a month. And, so I always make sure I have enough just in case. UK households withdrew a record of £3.8 billion, or $4.8 billion, from their savings in May in the wake of rising borrowing costs, according to data from the Bank of England. This was the biggest monthly outflow in 26 years since records began in 1997. There was a spike in withdrawals from easy access saving accounts, with $18.5 billion withdrawn from these in May. That's pretty significant. Some of the cash was likely redirected into fixed-rate savings accounts, which pay higher interest than individual savings accounts, which are tax-free. Britain's also paid over $1 billion into the government's National Savings and Investment Bank, data shows. It's probably not a good idea. The Bank of England's effort here, like, hey, just give us your money. You'll make money. Just send us a bunch of money and you're going to make money. Ain't that great? That's a hell of a business to be a part of. The Bank of England's efforts to rein in stubbornly high inflation have been driving up home loan payments, adding to the cost of living crisis. Meanwhile, the jump in interest rates has slowed the rate of borrowing. Major British lenders announced on Thursday another increase in mortgage rates offered via brokers, taking the average rate above 6% in many cases. Data shows that UK lenders approved 50,524 mortgages in May, up from a revised 49,020 in April, but down from around 66,000 in May 2022 before the rise in borrowing costs started to weigh on the housing market. We suspect consumer lending will decline further in the coming months as the growing drag from higher interest rates may mean households cut back, economist Ashley Webb from consultancy Capital Economics told Reuters. Yeah, I think it's all going to slow down. That's not a good sign when people don't buy cars and homes and much as our fiat currency, I always call fiat currency, I just cut to the chase, I call it bullshit. That's what I call it, bullshit currency, because that's what it runs on. It goes by consumer confidence, which is bullshit. So if the consumers don't feel confident, then the dollar's worth less, which is just mind-blowing to me, because at one time it was actually, there was a gold amount that it was, but we did away with that. Now we have the bullshit finance system, and they're about out of shit, pretty much. I mean, they got all the bull. It's nuts. We're all gonna, as far as economy, all of the nations are gonna be hurting it bad. Yeah, car repos through the roof. And no, like you're saying, not the usual cars. You're talking the luxury cars. You're talking about the high dollar cars, even supercars, man. Oh yeah, work trucks too. Well, I've heard even supercars are getting. There's even people that are giving up their supercars. I know, I feel for them. But, you're right. Work trucks. And it's not all just, as in, they're going to the lots of these businesses and taking these trucks. And then these businesses can no longer perform as a business. And it's easy to say, well, they should have just paid their mortgage rate. But, what if that business happens to be a pest control business and that person lost 50% of his business because of the harder times that everybody else is on? They couldn't afford to pay for pest control. So now his income is less and he can't afford to make that note. Not his fault, but that doesn't change the reality of the situation. So that's why I don't jump to jet. A lot of people will be like, well, he should have paid his note. And it's like, maybe he was doing everything right. Well, I think in this nation we need to stop. So many people, it's messed up. It's messed up. We need more self-responsibility, self-accountability. Anyway, I'm digressing or something. NHS employees quitting in record numbers. I wanted to put this one after that one because, well, the irony. But I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I understand it. It says here the exodus of NHS England workers last year was the highest in at least a decade. The Observer reported on Saturday, citing its analyst of workplace statistics collected since 2010. Nearly 170,000 employees, including more than 41,000 nurses, quit their jobs in hospitals and community health services in 2022 compared to almost 150,000 the previous year. The exodus encompasses all professions from doctors and ambulance staff to managers and technical staff, the Observer said. The healthcare industry, which is still recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic, had been hemorrhaging workers for some time, with some citing workplace pressures, burnout, difficult work environment, and having to deal with general shortages as reasons to leave. The UK's healthcare service has been in decline for over a decade, with the government constraining the NHS budget in 2010. According to the British Medical Association, there are currently 7.42 million people waiting for treatment, including over 372,000 patients waiting for over a year. The backlogs will likely result in worsened conditions down the line, leading to greater demand on the health services. Now, they gonna supposedly launch some plan to fix it. I'm not even gonna waste your time or my time with telling you that plan, because you know as well as I do, they ain't got a plan. I mean, they do, but it's not gonna involve helping us. I know that's there, but I'm just saying. Doesn't matter if you're in the UK, the EU, or the USA. We're all peasants. Alright. And now Italy. Forced to cut back on food. Says an industry report. Soaring inflation has caused Italian households to curb spending on food, according to a report by the General Confederation of Italian Industry, or Confindustria. The report showed household spending on groceries is in sharp decline. It dropped by 3.7% in 2022 and 8.7% in the fourth quarter of 2022 when compared with the first quarter of 2021. This has become a burden on overall consumption, given that spending on food accounts for 14% of all expenses, second only to spending on housing, water, and energy, 23%, Confindustria wrote. The head of the National Consumer Union, or UNC, Massimiliano Dona, wow, I wonder if they're going to make me repeat that one 10 times, described the report as alarming and claimed that Italians are on a forced diet due to skyrocketing inflation. He noted that the situation had a serious negative effect on economic growth, considering that consumption represents 60% of GDP, and that if Italians don't buy, then merchants don't sell and businesses do not produce. Exactly. And that means the employees of the business, I mean, it's a nightmare. UNC experts earlier noted that the trend of cutting back on food in Italy had emerged during the pandemic. Analysts found that in January 2023, purchases decreased by 4.4% in physical terms compared to 1 year previously, and by 6.3% compared to the same month of 2021. I can tell you that we don't buy as much. We can't, you know. It's crazy, and that all goes down the line. There's no helping that. But I will have you know, we got the bananas, because if I wouldn't have gotten bananas, yeah. Jen better not come home if she doesn't have bananas. I'll tell you that right now. she'll have to deal with the size and the dirty looks and the... This is the most amazing thing, seeing me walking with a banana. You'd have thought it was made of gold. I'm surprised she's, I guess, well, I guarantee you she's not sleeping. She's listening. Her little eyes are darting around everywhere. But I'm surprised that she wasn't staring at me. Because normally when we talk about her, that head'll pop up and she'll just glare. I love that kid. Anyway, you know, and it's not just people walking away from health jobs. It's not just the unemployment skyrocketing in Germany. Oh, no. Even Soros is cutting heads off. Yes, 40% of his staff, as a matter of fact. The non-profit organization Open Society Foundations, run by billionaire philanthropist George Soros, is laying off as much of its staff as part of a reorganization. The process includes a substantial reduction in headcount of no less than 40% globally, a spokesperson told U.S. news agencies. The charity employed more than 500 people as the end of 2021, according to Bloomberg. On Friday, the nonprofit's board of directors released in a statement announcing significant changes to the operating model, intending to maximize Open Society's impact in helping to counter the forces currently threatening open and free society. Yeah, whatever. You know what? You know who needs to quit their job? Your heartbeat. Yeah, your heartbeat just needs to, like, walk off the job. Let's see. Okay, now we're getting to, well, I've only got one that covers riots, and none of them are France, so sorry. But I do have one here from Switzerland, and I've got one more article after that about the big shooting that happened. So anyway, Swiss police have apprehended 7 people after rioting broke out on Saturday evening in downtown Lausanne. The incident came amid ongoing mass unrest in neighboring France. More than 100 youths gathered in the city center, vandalizing shop windows, a door, and a sign, Lausanne police stated in a press release. About 50 officers were deployed to quell the unrest, with rioters responding by throwing stones and at least one Molotov cocktail. There have been no reports of injuries. Authorities in neighboring France have claimed that the wave of violence appeared to be declining on the 5th night of rioting. The Interior Ministry reported Sunday morning that 719 people had been detained overnight. It goes on talking more, but the biggest thing that I want you to take away from my reporting on this, and I'm waiting, and I haven't, it's been 2-3 hours since I looked. But everybody that was covering, all the sources for this particular story, none of them were, and I'm not telling you to put anything into this, because I'm certainly not, but none of them were anything even remotely mainstream. They were a lot of little bitty outlets. Even like MSN had one. You click on it, though, and it took you to a video, and that's as far as you could go. You couldn't, there was no article, there was no, but there was, it's being said that France is going to cut the internet, at least in portions, to be able to help quell the unrest, to be able to maybe prevent people from being able to organize. And I'm telling you, they prepared for doing this for a long time. They were working on this technology and testing it during Occupy Wall Street, when Tim Pool and Luke Rudkowski would be trying to stream live from the streets. They'd beam whatever at their damn phones and they'd be off. I mean, that was it. I mean, and so anytime they wanted to do something and needed the cameras to go out, they just knocked them offline. Simple as that. So they've been doing this kind of stuff for a long time, but now that's, like a surgical type of operation there, where you just got a handful of people that you need to remove from data connection. But in this instance, they're going to need large areas that are cut off so that people can't organize. I hope, I'm just saying, individuals involved know about intranets and how maybe they can get that going. So, there are ways. Run your own damn network. Let's see. And then the last article I have for you. 30 people shot at U.S. block party. This is in Maryland. Crazy. This stuff is really getting to be an issue. Now, in many instances, it's not. They wanna keep talking mass shooting. In many instances, that, in my opinion. See, in my opinion, in order for it to be a mass shooting, it has to be, and I get that you could say they're all warrantless. I get that, and I would agree to an extent. But it's one thing with a Joe Blow that doesn't personally know anybody involved, that he's about to engage, he or she, whatever, about to engage. That's one thing. That is a mass shooter. That is somebody just absolutely just, yeah. But if you've got people that know each other and that they've got a beef and they have an argument, and then next thing you know, one guy pulls out something and starts shooting a bunch of people, I'm sorry, that's not a mass shooting. That's like, in many cases, you could call it gang-involved shootings or domestic dispute-involved shootings, but not mass. I'm sorry, and I know I'm not the one that defines the word or anything like that, but to me, there's a big distinct difference between a mass shooting, somebody walking in to a supermarket and just shooting people with no connection, really. There's a big difference than gangbanging and that kind of stuff, and I think that's where we run into a lot of this stuff here, but it says here at least 2 people have been murdered and 28 wounded in a mass shooting at an outdoor party in Baltimore, Maryland, one of America's most violence-plagued cities. Gunfire erupted shortly after midnight on Sunday at a residential block party in the Brooklyn Homes neighborhood on Baltimore's South Side, where hundreds of people had gathered, police reported. An 18-year-old woman was found dead at the scene, and a 20-year-old man died after being taken to a local hospital. 3 of the injured victims were in critical condition as of Sunday morning. At least 4 people were reportedly treated in the University of Maryland Medical Center's pediatric emergency department, suggesting that they were children. The unidentified perpetrators are still at large, police said. The investigation is ongoing, and we will not rest until the people responsible are held accountable, Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott said in a statement. He called the shooting a cowardly, violent act and vowed to continue cracking down on illegal gun possession on the city streets. Baltimore, located about 40 miles from the U.S. Capitol, already has some of the tightest gun restrictions in the nation, including new measures signed into law by Maryland Governor Wes Moore in May. Among large U.S. cities, only New Orleans and St. Louis, fun times, had higher murder rates than Baltimore in 2022. The city has had more than 300 murders for each of the past 8 years, and police warned in April that violence involving teenagers is on the rise. There have been 338 mass shootings in the U.S. so far this year, and again, you have to understand, they keep changing the definition of a mass shooting so that they can include as many as what they possibly can. It's unbelievable. Anyway, according to Gun Violence Archives, which defines such incidents as those in which 4 or more people are injured or killed by gunfire. So see, 4 people being injured by gunfire is enough to be a mass shooting. That's it. That's it. That's it. 4 people. And I know I get it. I get it. I'm not desensitized to the fact that 4 people just got shot. I'm not desensitized to that. That is not a mass shooting. That's just like, I'll be damned if I consider a frickin' pressure cooker a weapon of mass destruction. Bullshit. That's no weapon of mass destruction. And I know that probably seemed out of nowhere. I threw a fit back after the Baltimore bombing when they wanted to redefine. They started calling that a weapon of mass destruction. I'm sorry, that is not a weapon of mass destruction. And we have to be very, very careful of them moving those lines. Because before long, they'll be saying your AR-15 is a weapon of mass destruction. And in fact, they're already trying to say it. They just haven't been able to make it fact yet, if you know what I mean. It's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. I mean, look at what they're getting away with. They're getting away with saying that there's... How many was it? 338 mass shootings just this year. From January 1 till now, 338. I'm calling absolute bullshit. Actual mass shootings, I would say less than 10, right? I'd have to go back and look, but let's see, around 10 maybe. Which is still way too many, but Boston, Baltimore. I don't, or unless you're asking about Boston's tally, I have no idea. I know Boston's rough too. Crazy. But if there's anything to take from this article, it's not to move to St. Louis. That is not a place you want to live. Oh, the Boston Marathon bombing. There was, in the Boston Marathon bombing, that's what it was pressure cookers. At least that's what we were told it was. I'll go far and say that. Jarnoff brothers. And I don't believe all that story either. I don't believe all that story. I believe the I believe the one brother was killed, flat out killed, and then if you look into it, you'll find out. Trust me, because I paid attention as it was going on. If you look into it, you'll find out that the other guy, the one guy that wasn't killed, they did all kinds of shit to him. They intubated him and all that stuff. He couldn't talk. They made it where that dude couldn't even talk. And it wasn't something that had to be done. They did it so he couldn't talk. You know, I've got real big questions with stuff like that. Just like I've got real big questions with things like the shooting in Las Vegas that happened and all that stuff. And I know a lot of people got questions about that as well. But some of these quote-unquote mass shootings and mass events, in fact, a lot of them. Not just some of them, a lot of them. Anywho, I've got some headlines here. Got all of them from Friday. Yeah, I've got all kinds of questions, man. All kinds. Going all the way back to Waco and Oklahoma City bombing, and I mean, going way back. I got all kinds of questions. Even going way, way, way back than that. Was it Philadelphia? Was it Philadelphia that the U.S. government was bombing all those neighborhoods? Something like that. I know in St. Louis, they were literally spraying radioactive compounds from the rooftops over the poor neighborhoods. It's a fact. You can look it up. Crazy. Let's see. I got sour gummy worms in there. Yum, 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 yum. Sour gummy worms. I got a little bit of that left. I got some pink starburst left, some green apple left. In fact, I hardly even vaped any of my green apple. I've got all that left, pretty much. I'm going to be green appled out. Because that'll be the last thing I have, I think. Banana dragon fruit. Dude, don't even. Don't even. Damn it. Damn you. Damn you. Where's my pen? Damn you. Damn. Damn. I don't know where the hell my pen is. Where's my penis? I mean, where my pen is. I'm sorry, I just combined the two together. Can't find my penis pinners. Oh, by the way, I did find another filter for the piece of crap Orion. But that's good. I did have a pin right here. Dog probably took it. Dog's writing me out a will and a suicide note. Yeah, it does. It sounds damn good to me, man. Did you make that or buy that? Oh, of course I get a penis that's broke. Alright, banana dragon fruit. Can you explain the banana to me? What banana is it? Is it a Laffy Taffy banana? Is it a ripe banana? Is it a the popsicle banana? Because I've got the popsicle banana. I've got the Laffy Taffy banana. I actually think I might have some ripe banana, but I'm not positive. Banana pudding. Banana pudding. That's going to be the Laffy Taffy banana. That's going to be a Laffy Taffy banana. Sweet. Sweet. And I've got dragon fruit in there too, so. Now these flavorings are, gosh. What, over 10 years old? My dragon fruit, I guarantee, is over 10 years old. So. But, in a glass bottle, it's all good. That would, you said that, and it's like, dude, banana and dragon fruit. Oh my goodness. I tasted it when you said that. I'm like, oh. Hell to the yeah. Anyway, I should probably do some headlines. I get all excited when I get new flavor ideas, you know. It's like, ooh. Because I'm picky. I'm very picky because, well, there's not a whole lot that I like tasting all the time. And like I said, this is my pacifier. I hold on to this damn thing all day. Alright. Let's see. Record number... Pardon me. By the way, this is Friday's news. See what I did? What the problem was, I hit on the pod, and then I grabbed my mod and took a few bong rips off my mod, and wonder why I'm coughing. A record number of arrests made during unrest in France, says Le Figaro. And again, this is Friday's news. Well, that would actually probably been like for Thursday. Ukraine's failure, a big problem for Biden, says Seymour Hersh. Walking upstairs is a big problem for Biden, so not pooping his pants is actually. Not getting up and walking out in the middle of an interview seems to be a pretty big problem. That's good, brother. Swiss-based firms keep Russian fuel flowing, says Financial Times. German consumers hit by runaway prices. Washington mulling cluster munition deliveries to Ukraine, says Politico. If you remember Thursday, I'd reported on them talking about that. Zelensky ally attacks Hungary's Orban, says media. Okay. Got a little winded. Ukraine issues ultimatum to NATO. Central American country wants to ditch dollar and Russia trade. Arming Ukraine is a cynical and dangerous NATO ploy. RT reporter tells UNSC. Florida governor defends pizza ovens. I mean, yeah, that's like nonsense that's going on in New York. Police identify man who vandalized Coliseum, which, by the way, I don't know about you all, but I have a real damned uneasy feeling about this whole Musk-Zuckerberg fight being in the Coliseum. I don't know why, but there's something about that. There's something about that. I don't know. It's not good. I can tell you that. Russia owes West no explanation about Wagner mutiny, says Lavrov. Ukraine holding back Western tanks, says Wall Street Journal. Quitting grain deal will not affect Russia's agricultural exports, says Lavrov. World Bank approves another loan for Ukraine. Why not? Russia will destroy foreign fighters and Western generals in Ukraine, says Lavrov. Riots force Macron to leave EU summit. Russian currency dips further. EU states need Russia, not Ukraine, says Polish MEP. Poland wants U.S. nuclear weapons, says Prime Minister. That's not a good thing. I'm sure they're probably going to get them. A North American city's top global pollution ratings. Well, yeah, but that's because of the smoke. Kremlin responds to detention of Russian hockey player in Poland. Tinder swipes out of Russia. Ukraine's top general pissed off over counteroffensive criticism, says Washington Post. Malaria found in Florida mosquitoes, says CBS. EU trying to get its hands on frozen Russian money. By the way, every summer they do this. Oh, we found malaria. We found what's the other one that they find from mosquitoes? That every year they fearmonger it. Let's see. EU trying to get its hands on frozen Russian money. 2 dead in shooting at Chisinau Airport, says authorities. Raytheon hiring pensioners to build Stinger missiles. Now, it wasn't Ebola. There's something else. Is it Ebola from the mosquitoes? It might be, but I thought there was something else. West Nile. I'm thinking West Nile, brother. I mean, that may be how you get Ebola, but I was thinking West Nile. Let's see. EU warns against selfish geoengineering. Ukraine sues Iran over 2020 downed plane. Well, that's what they were saying, ain't it? Malaria? Yeah, malaria. Yeah, they were saying malaria, but West Nile's Another one every single year they go on and on about. Anytime they find it, they're like, oh, what's now? And I'm more like, well, you probably should tell us a little bit more about those brain-eating amoebas and stuff, because I find that a little more concerning than... Let's see. Russia demands answers from Poland on sports stars arrest. U.S. approves Taiwan arms sales. Zika virus, yeah, that's another one. Yep. I mean, I ignore it. Anytime they do that stuff, I ignore it. Iraqis asked not to burn Swedish flag. Why not? I wouldn't blame them a bit if they did. Ukraine must explain how 70 billion euros was spent, says EU state. Zelensky's got some splaining to do. Trans influencer slams Bud Light in first public statement since ad debacle. Lower space to Oh man, French police demand government acts and threaten resistance. Study reveals extent of Western aid to Kiev. U.S. Supreme Court rules in landmark LGBTQ case. Riots over teens killing spread to Brussels, 64 arrested. Again, this was news I put out on Friday. Germany doesn't seek regime change in Moscow, says Scholes. Rioters loot gun store in Marseille, says media. Russia blocks Wagner-linked media. Macron blames computer games for riots. Oh, this is, by the way, yesterday's news. We're starting on yesterday's news. And Macron blames computer games for the riots. It's definitely computer games. Yeah. Kiev considering holding Crimea hostage, says Washington Post. Bolsonaro barred from holding public office in Brazil until 2030. Russian unemployment drops to all-time lows, says an official. EU states hotel industry boss counts costs of anti-Russia sanction. Top U.S. general not surprised about Ukraine's slow offensive. Right. Exactly. Let's see. Gas guzzlers cheaper to use in Britain than EVs, says a report. Imagine that. Russia's foreign debt drops to multi-year lows. Hey, that's like the gas, just like the natural gas thing, right? They got everybody to switch over to natural gas, and then look at what they did. I mean, all of that, I guarantee you, all that price gouging wasn't necessary that the energy companies did. Polish PM taunts EU over migration with French unrest videos. And to speak to that about the power companies, it blows my mind because every year they're talking about their record profits, and they even did it the last few years. They've talked about their record profits. And it's like, wait a minute, you fleeced. You know, some people went without their medications. Some people had to figure out how they were going to come up with the rest of the rent money and all that stuff because of their utility bills. It was insane. And these companies didn't have to do any of that. They did it because they could. It's unreal. Prices rising across the Eurozone. Fire engulfs chemical plant in China. German arms-making giant flourishing amid Ukraine crisis, says Welt. Argentina drops dollar in debt payments. Kiev must show battlefield results in the next 10 days, says Zelensky. Russia restores regular flights to Cuba. Fox News reaches $12 million settlement with former Tucker Carlson producer. Ex-Russian president comments on Polish nuclear request. Weak states will perish, says Orban. CIA chief spoke to Moscow about Wagner revolt, says Wall Street Journal. Russian senator fears for safety of French nuclear arsenal. French rioters filmed brandishing military-grade weapons as unrest grows. I would have to see. I didn't look into this. I don't know what they're calling military-grade weapons, so... Finnish economic minister resigns over climate abortion speech. Spain pledges 4 tanks to Ukraine. That'll help them for a minute. U.S. media giant fires managers who ordered balanced news. Kinda crazy. Kiev lashes out at Orban. Supreme Court spikes Biden's punch. No, Supreme Court spikes Biden's student loan amnesty. Nobody needs to spike his punch. Let's see. Woman fired for transgender tweet awarded over £100,000. U.S. military veterans tell family members not to enlist, says Wall Street Journal. I actually had to joke about this because my family was like 40 years ahead of the curve because my brother distinctly told me that if I joined the military, I wouldn't have to worry about dying in combat because he would kill me himself. So, yeah, 40 years ago, roughly, my brother was on it. I have no idea what climate abortion is. I have no idea. Anymore, if it has anything to do with genders or climate, I don't even try to understand it. I just like, whatever. Musk explains new Twitter limits. Taliban achieves what U.S. couldn't do with opium, says media. What, not get all their people addicted on it? Was it that? Maybe that. Syria's First Lady names biggest threat to the world. Biden administration outlines hypothetical geoengineering research program. European king apologizes for slavery. Kalashnikov armed gunman kills 1 and injures several in Croatia. U.S. brings confrontation to UNESCO, says China. Ukraine warns against repeating Merkel's mistake. 2 military planes collide midair in Colombia. And we are to today's news, so coffee. I got 1 drink left. We're dreaming. Fun. All right. To today's news. I covered those and those. Oh, hell, I covered all the first one. Russian kamikaze drones are a major headache for Ukraine, says Telegraph. EU rushing to secure gas for winter, so expect higher prices over there. Man detained over threatening letter to Israeli PM. Decoupling from China is foolish, says CIA chief. UK, Canada, and Australia slam Israel over settlements. Let's see. I covered that one. And that one. Japan exempts Russian energy projects from sanctions. Ex-Zelensky aide blames West for counteroffensive claims. Investors voting with their feet on Europe, says Bloomberg. Bitcoin-friendly Belarus to tighten crypto controls. Biden's Biden's Iran envoy under investigation, says CNN. Victor Bout to enter politics. That was the prisoner that we exchanged, wasn't that one for Brittany Griner, I think? Disney sued over discrimination against women. Germany seizing private Russian cars, says RBK. Let's see. Value of Wagner stake contracts revealed by Russian media. Kosovo PM planning new attack on Serbs, says Vucic. Poor planning caused Afghanistan disaster, says U.S. Belarusian embassy vandalized in the Netherlands. French mayor's family targeted in shocking attack. Let's see. Ukrainian commander complains about French tanks, says AFP. Hey, don't look a war horse in the mouth. First rioters jailed in France. Titan disaster caused by microcracks, says an expert. Iran scolds France over violent unrest. Grandmother of French shooting victim calls for end to riots. This is crazy. U.S. Congress may need to impeach Supreme Court judges, says AOC. This is crazy. Families of fallen Ukrainian soldiers hold rally to demand more cemeteries. LGBT Republicans slam DeSantis ad as homophobic. CIA sees Ukraine crisis as a once-in-a-generation opportunity. Israel launches military operation in West Bank. And lastly, British commandos may have executed 80 Afghan civilians, says lawyers. Ruh-roh, Raggy. And a little bit of news. Anyway, I'm gonna put a cork in the bottle of today's news and call it a night. And God willing, we'll be back tomorrow and we'll be at it again. Now, I've been wrong with my little gut feelings as of late, so I want to say that right up front. I've been very wrong about that. But I do have a gut feeling it's going to be a busy week. So, we'll see if my wrong trend starts turning around. So, sometimes I'm on it, and other times I don't know what it is. But I just got a feeling it's going to be an interesting week. So, anyway, I am going to get out of here. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. I appreciate you coming tonight. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. And as always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.